How are you?
I am good. How are you today?
I am fantastic. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to chatting with you for months. Because when I decided to do this series of interviews with local business owners, you were one of the first people that came to mind for me. Isn't that
Oh,
amazing?
that is amazing. Thank you. I'm so honored.
So tell us who you are. Tell us your story.
Okay, so my name is Johanna Howard, and I am the co-founder and designer of a brand called Johanna Howard Home, and we do sustainable pillows and throws, and also table linens. Now we're also doing some really cool dresses. And the reason why I started the company is my background is in fashion. I was in the fashion world for about 20 plus years before I started this company. And I worked both in Los Angeles and also New York for both high-end, mostly women's, but I also done some children's clothing, but mostly contemporary clothing, especially retailers such as the Gap and Express. Love pretty much everything about it to a certain extent. I mean, learned a lot. And also just being part of a big team was fun, or like more hands-on experiences I had when I was working in Los Angeles, when we basically had sample makers, sewers, cutters, everyone was in one big room. So it
Mhm.
was a very creative environment. And I always loved to see how things are made. That's something that you can throw me into like a noisy, bustling sample room or factory where they're actually making things. And I'm just like, this is great. I love it. Excitement has never really left me. I realized that flying around the world to all these factories and working crazy hours wasn't as fun as it used to be, because I felt that I kind of had to constantly compromise between, you know, working and managing a big team of designers and not really having control over my own life to a certain extent. So I decided I wanted to, and this is also like, the world of fashion was very, uh, like after the third layoff, I'm like, I think I'm
Mm,
done. you
yeah.
know, um, I was like, okay, let me take this opportunity to kind of figure out what I can do with the skill sets that I have and what I really like, and realizing that what I love is beautiful textiles, uh, well-made product, and quality and color. And I decided that instead of trying to kind of come up with a fashion line, I wanted to focus on home because I felt that that's where you can be a little bit more mindful of what you buy. And also, if you're going to buy something that's going to be in your home and bring you joy, like I think people's choices and people's, the way you make a choice is a little bit more mindful sometimes. It's not necessarily like an impulse buy that's close could be sometimes. So if you're going to pick that beautiful throw or a beautiful pillow for your living room or in your bedroom, you want to kind of make sure that it kind of hits, all the points. Is it well
Yeah.
made? Is it going to last? Is it made out of good quality? And then also for me, it was also making sure that things are sustainable and fair trade, because I'm sure at this point we've all heard about, how things are made not in the most ethical ways and everything. So anyway, we were on family vacation at Martha's Vineyard, and there's a alpaca farm there, and I'm like, never been to an alpaca farm before in my life. And we went there, and I had one of those aha moments because I fell in love with the animals themselves. But the best part of these critters is that they grow the most gorgeous fiber ever. It's soft, it's warm,
Yes.
it's hypoallergenic. So I literally bought this expensive yarn that they had made from the alpaca on the farm.
Yes.
And I was going to knit myself a scarf, and I hadn't knitted anything that since I was in, seventh grade, and I'm still not a very good knitter. But I just bought this yarn because I'm like, this is amazing. So I just kind of put together. Like, what if I could actually make something with alpaca for
Hmm.
the home? So I'm originally from Sweden, and
Yes.
growing up in Sweden, everyone pays a lot of attention to their homes there.
Yes.
Um, and you kind of save up to buy that special piece, or you inherited furniture from someone, or people are very particular about what you put in your home, how it's made and everything, and it's built to last. So I feel like I kind of had that mindset from back home. And like Swedish design is more than just IKEA. Not to, IKEA is great, but people had this heirlooms and everything, and beautiful woolen hand woven scarves or hand woven blankets and everything. So I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. And I'm like, okay, I want to kind of take that same mindset over here. That led me to Peru, because Peru is the foremost alpaca country in the world. About 80% of all the alpacas that are in the world, they live in Peru, down in the Andes, which is way up above sea level, about 3,000 to 4,000 feet up in the southern part of Peru, called Arequipa. And they've been producing and working with this beautiful textiles for thousands of years.
Nice.
And a lot of the techniques that we use are ancient. Like we do some hand knitting, for example. We do hand weaving. We do hand dyeing, and a lot of these techniques is something that the Peruvian people have been kind of perfecting over,
Century.
millennia,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So I kind of really got excited when I found out about, not only do they master, like they know alpaca, like it's part of their DNA at this point, but also like all these beautiful techniques. So we work with artisans, we work with dyers who dye things by hand, for example, or some of our throws have like hand finished stitches on the edges. And so there's all these little details that to me makes a huge difference. It is an expensive fiber because it is a natural fiber.
It is.
And it's not that you can just produce more, because, the alpaca herds and not just multiply over the year. They're very mindful of how the alpacas are raised, how they're being treated, because that also goes into the fiber. And that's why the fibers are so really amazing and soft and gorgeous. Yeah.
Your business is directly supporting families in Peru who
Yes.
are, again, coming up with methods to sustainably um, create or harvest these fibers, right?
Yes.
And um, and that's phenomenal because in your own way, you're contributing to the sustainability of the planet, which is
Yeah. Which
it's a
and
theme.
what I
It's a
like
theme
about,
that I'm
yeah.
it's a theme that I'm hearing among business
Yeah.
owners. It's really
No, it
interesting.
is important. And I think, but that's not a reason why I really fell in love with Peru and also what they do, because it is a very, when you think about supply chain and everything,
Yeah.
like we're not that far of, like there's not that many steps between us and the people who actually harvest or like raise the alpacas. And also a lot of the companies that we work with or collectives are either family owned or women owned or women run. And we also are able to help create opportunities for mostly women who live in these kind of remote areas where there's not a lot of work opportunities. So they can actually, they have like a collective of a group of women, and they knit, and they kind of knit together, for example, or they weave together. And they're also able to be close to the kids. So that's also another thing that
Did you know
I
that
like
going
to
in?
know.
Did you know that going in, or is that
Um,
that
it's
surprise?
something that I found out about because I wanted to be, if I couldn't make it here, and everything, I wanted to make it in the best possible way that I was able to achieve.
So,
Yeah.
what would you say makes your business unique?
Yeah, I think my business is unique because I'm African American, and in the home goods section, when we started working, we do trade shows and stuff like that. We were the unicorns. People like could not compute or whatever. It's getting better, but there's still very far and few between. So I think that's one reason what makes us are unique. I think also my aesthetic, because I draw a lot on my Scandinavian heritage.
Absolutely.
So, like the Scandinavian vibe, it's not something you find that often. And I think that's one of the reasons that's what makes our business unique. Yeah, I think
What did
those
you
are the
call
two
it? The
things.
Scandinavian?
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Scandinavian,
What is
yes.
that?
So- okay, this is another anecdote. So when I was dating my husband, his roommate coined that term because he's like, wait, she's black and she's from Sweden. She's a Scandinavian.
I
So
love
I've shared it with a couple of friends, and
I
yeah,
love that. And I
yeah,
love your Scandinavian vibe. It is
yeah.
beautiful.
So, it kind of explains it,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
um,
So tell me a little bit more about the types of products you
of
produce.
course. So we focus on home decor, which is pillows and throws. We also started producing table linens a couple of years ago, and those are kind of like our main. Like the throws and the pillows are basically our biggest part of our business, and then the table linen is something we started to do, which is kind of fun too because it just taps into a different part of your home, making beautiful setting for your table, and it's a little bit more interactive that you can kind of like break bread with your friends and make it festive. And then we also, excuse me, we also have a candle line that is actually started by our daughter Rose, and she's our an entrepreneur in her own. So she started doing candles when she was 8. She's 18 now, so she's been doing it for quite some time. But it's still part of our family affair, so to speak. And then, but last year I also started making these upcycled shirt dresses. And again, it's so funny because I guess I can't really get away from fashion, but this is a very different way of
Mm.
clothes because I look at fashion or how you dress more as having style. I'm not really interested in trends so much as I used to be when I was in the world of fashion, but I love style, and I think that's really interesting to see people, with good style, and you're committed to it. So anyway, so I started making these dresses out of upcycled men's shirts, and they're, it's interesting to see how people, women, mostly, how they react to them, because
How do
everyone
they
is one of
react?
a kind.
How do they react to them?
It's interesting because it's like this beeline. They just kind of like, it's like they just see it on the rack and just kind of like, okay, out of my way. What is that? I gotta have it, try it on. And also
Why do you think they're so attracted to those dresses in
I
particular?
think because I think because people like to have something that they feel is just made for them. Um, and also loving the idea that it is upcycling, because I think upcycling is becoming a bigger and bigger um, uh, concept, if you want to say it. I mean, it's interesting to see like my daughter Rose, for example, she's really into
Mm.
vintage shopping and thrift shopping, and that's how I kind of got back into it again as well. Um, but I think it's just like that thing that people just like, and they're also kind of um, you can fit the way they look and everything. They work really well at different types of body types, heights, ages. I mean, I've sold them to super trendy or super cool like fashion editors to a more conservative woman who like is was in her 70s. So it's like a nice range, and everyone just have the same look of joy when they put them on and they find that dress that works for them, and it's kind of nice. I mean, and that was
And
and
they must be comfortable too,
they're
right?
super comfortable. They're 100% cotton. It's kind of like a labor of love. It takes a long time to make them. I source all the shirts myself. I make sure that they're all 100% cotton, really good quality. Men's shirts. J. Crew and Thomas Pink. All the high street kind of brands that uses really nice qualities. We give them new life in a new way. So it's kind of fun.
So a lot of what it sounds like you do is, even though you're making a variety of products, you're also customizing many of your products. Like I think of, you mentioned Rose and her
Hmm.
candle line, and
Hmm.
I have been fortunate enough to um, have her create a custom candle for my real estate business and my clients, and I absolutely adore the smell of it. And it is one of the first gifts that I give to anyone that I work with, and
Oh,
it
that's so nice.
takes it takes them back. There,
Yeah.
there's these, I think there's mahogany in there, and these
Hmm.
other amazing since I think originally it was your Black Girl, maybe
Oh yeah, Black Girl
Black
Magic.
Girl Magic
Yeah,
candle, and
that's a good
then
one.
it
Yep.
added a little flair to it for me. And
Hmm.
so it's a big hit in my family and with
Oh,
my
good.
clients. So I appreciate that. So what would you say is your bestseller of all the products that you've described? You've talked about the dress, the
Yeah.
cushions. You haven't talked about the scarves. And
Oh, the scarves. Oh, yes. Sorry. Oops,
girl, this
forgot
is
about
one
the
of my
scarves. Oh,
favorites.
yeah.
We forgot about
Um,
the scarves.
I
How could we
know.
forget about
Okay.
the scarves?
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah, the scarves are a little bit more seasonal, but as you know,
Yeah.
we're both wearing comfortable scarves. I think I think I like things that are tactile. So I think scarves kind of gives you that comfort. In terms of our bestsellers, I was gonna say that we pretty much have two throws, so three throws that we do really well with year round. One is called the Cozy Throw, and that's actually produced in Portugal. So besides working in Peru, we also work with some really great mills in Portugal. So this one is called the Cozy Throw, and it's a wool cotton, and it's kind of gauzy, so it has like a really nice lofty, drapey texture. And the added benefit to this one is also it's machine washable, so it's very user friendly, as I like to say. And it comes in both, and what's fun about this one, it reverses. So it's one color on one side and another color on the other side.
Hmm.
So those we do really, really well with. It's a great kind of family throw or, great gift as well. The other one that is one of our signature throw is actually our dip dye throw, which is 100% baby alpaca. And they are hand dyed, not by me, but by this incredible uh, dye collective in Arequipa in Peru. So each throw is hand dyed, and depending on the color, it can take up to 6 hours for one throw to dye to get that even color. Um, and um, and when I was, it took us almost a year to kind of figure out how to do this. It was a lot of research that went into it and everything. But the result that we were able to achieve is amazing. And we've been doing this now for probably, I would say 7 years maybe. And like pretty much every year we add a couple of new colors. And also since we do and not only sell directly to the consumer, we sell to stores and we also sell to interior designers. We have a trade program. And so those are actually a really great item for designers, either, like a lot of our design uh, clients, they might give a throw like that as a housewarming gift at the end of a project to their or just put it in the home, and it's just like a statement in terms of a throw. It's very beautiful. We also do really well with a cotton chenille throw, and those are actually woven in Portugal as well. But they're kind of graphic, and we have a new design that we introduced last year called the Josephine. I like to name all my things, and all the names have a meaning, at least to me.
Why
So the
Josephine?
Josephine,
Why
it's named
Josephine?
after Josephine Baker, of course.
Ah,
Yes. So she's been my I've been a huge fan since I learned about her when I was 14 the first time, and just thinking like she kind of, super cool, created her own path, both as an actress, singer, dancer, and also like she was working for the French Resistance during World War II. So she was actually helping saving people's lives.
amazing.
And she also, which was amazing, she also adopted a bunch of kids. So she had on her own, I think she had, I might not be 100%, but at least 10 or 12 children. And she called them her rainbow trial. And they came from all over the world.
I never knew this
Yeah.
about her. That's
Which, I
phenomenal.
mean, she's just amazing. And there's like a fairly new, there was a book that came out about her like years ago called Jazz Cleopatra. But there's a newer biography about her too, and they're talking more about what she did, during World War II and after that. And then, of course, if you live in the area, there's a restaurant called Chez Josephine's in New York on 42nd Street that was
Correct.
owned and run by one of her sons, Jean-Claude, and it's like one of my favorite places because I love old school. I love places that have a history to it and everything. And I always feel like I kind of, it's like it's a little bit of Paris in New York.
Mm.
So
Oh,
uh,
so
yeah,
beautiful.
yes.
Rose.
And it has like an Art Deco pattern to it because I feel like, when you think about her when she first came to Paris, this is like in the late 1920s, 1930s. It was the height of, French Art Deco, which is so stylish. And I think it's like one of my favorite, Art Deco in general is one of my favorite styles. I think it's super elegant. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so the Josephine is fabulous.
The Josephine is fabulous, and
Yes.
the throws are your best-selling product.
Yes.
Amazing. So, what's one thing that people don't know about your business that you feel like they should know?
I mean, we're family owned, so it's me, my husband, and then also our daughter Rose that is part of the business. We live and work in Montclair. And yeah, I guess so. And then also I think the sustainability part sometimes, I mean, even if something we talk about, but um it's like one of those things that when you actually meet someone or a customer or a client for the first time, like some people really like to hear that part.
Yeah,
And also that we're women owned, for example. So yeah, I think I'm trying to like be mindful of how things are made and where things are coming from because
very
I
much
think,
so.
you
Very
know,
much so.
it's important.
Yeah, you're doing your little bit to contribute to us all living longer and our planet being around for
Yeah,
longer. So thank
yeah.
you for that. So I want to go back to the question. I'm going to transition here to talk about the community a little bit. And
Mhm, of
you started out by telling me why you chose Montclair, but I'd like to ask the question,
course.
which is like, why Montclair for you?
So when my husband and I decided we wanted to move away from Brooklyn because I feel like that's like a steady, everyone comes from Brooklyn to Montclair and we did the same kind of um uh, decided to do that. I think when we fell in love with Montclair, that the fact that it was so diverse, and it's even more diverse now because we've been here for 17 years.
Mhm.
But I mean, even our street back in the day when we first moved in here, like it was super diverse and just great. I mean, you had um, our next door neighbors. Uh, I mean, it's just good. I mean, good, diverse, great neighbors. I think that's another reason why I love being here. Great neighbors, great neighborhoods, and then also, I think there's a lot of culture out here, which is really nice. Um, so, which I think it makes it unique as well. I mean, we have an art museum. We have, the Belmont Theater. You can see live music, or we have like great restaurants. There's the jazz festival. There's Montclair Pride, which is amazing, too. That it's like the largest one outside New York at this point.
Mm.
Um, so I think there's a lot of good people too, like good hardworking, lots of creativity, a lot of entrepreneurship going on. And yeah, I call it the bubble, actually.
And so
And
how has the bubble supported your business? How has the local community supported you guys?
um, I think the community has been doing great by us, which is really nice. Sometimes we do pop-up events, we do trunk shows in around town, or we're also part of the open studio here in Manufacturers Village. And it's so much fun I love meeting, people in person, like potential customers or people who already bought something from us. And they're so excited to be able to share, like, oh, I bought one of your throws at the store and we love it. So they kind of make an effort to kind of tell us that.
Mhm.
So that's just nice because I mean, I think nothing, because that's the reason why we do this. We want to make sure that we're bringing joy to someone's home, helping them feel comfort, for example. So when you hear that, that someone that, or we get an order on our Shopify, excuse me, on our Shopify website, and I see the shipping address is Montclair, I'm like, yes, like here goes another neighbor, and it's kind of nice. So I think people here are very um, supportive,
Yeah.
um, and like to also kind of know that um, you know whatever, if they're going to make an investment in buying something, whether it's a throw for the couch or even one of Rose's candles, like, okay, like I actually put it back in the community and invested my money into
One
a
of these
local
art.
business. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So I think that's nice. I think people
Yeah.
are very mindful about it.
So you're starting to tell us how people can get access to your products. So
Yes.
Shopify is one I heard.
So we
And
have a website.
tell us
Yes, we have a
more.
website. It's johannahowardhome.com.
Mm.
.com. So you can pretty much see everything there. We do have a our studio and warehouse. It's actually in this really great building called Manufacturers Village, which is in our next to our town, East Orange.
Yep.
And we're part of this artist community here. So we are, we're working here, but welcome people if they want to come and stop by, and we're open by appointment. So you can always call us or email us. If you want to see, if you take a look at our website, for example, but really want to see something in person, for example, you are very welcome to come and visit, and we can show you around. I think customer service is very important, not to underestimate that. Nice. And I think people appreciated knowing that there's actually a human being behind
Yeah,
that website.
I agree.
I think also um, due diligence, like really know your product or your
Mhm.
service, whatever it is, and especially if you're trying to do something on your own. um, and always aim for quality if you can. I think quality goes over quantity. And that this comes from someone who's been in, product development and manufacturing more or less my whole adult life. If you have a choice between cotton and polyester, go for cotton. you know, even though it's more expensive, but it's, I think we have to be more mindful about, where things are made, how things are made, and with what. So if you are in a product-based business, that is huge.
So what I'm hearing loud and clear, quality,
Hmm.
be over quantity,
Yeah.
and put a lot of care into what you do.
Yes, exactly. I can't stress
Well,
that enough.
you are an amazing person, so complex in so many ways. I learned so much about you today. Um, I had a sense that you came from a fashion background, but didn't know that, and
Hmm.
that is amazing. And I see how you're weaving your culture into what you do. You're clearly very passionate about what you do, and I think that goes a long way, right? In any business, right? Because it
Yeah.
sustains you when
Yes.
through the ups and downs, right? I'm
Yeah.
I'm sure you would agree with me that what you
Oh,
do,
absolutely.
I feel like what I do is not a
Yeah.
job at all. It's
Right.
I feel like what I do in real estate is I'm doing what I love, and
Yeah.
through the ups and downs, the hard times and the good times, that love for what I do, and it's
Right.
like the same for you. It carries us,
Yeah,
right?
'cause you have a major role in like your clients. One of the most important decisions that they make, it's like finding that home, and that you are guiding them to be able to make that decision and everything. That's huge. That's massive. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, and especially like I mean, in today's market as well, which is, I mean, Montclair is highly competitive and everything too, and um but I feel like we keep we're getting new neighbors and everything, and it's just nice to see like who's coming into our community as well. And So that must be a lot of fun too, as what you do.
Every aspect,
Um, yeah,
every aspect of it, as with
yeah,
you, as with you. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for the quality products that you provide to people all over the world. And before we go, is there anything else that you would like people to know about Johanna Howard Home?
well, yeah, and I think also I think one thing too that want to highlight or it's like I like to bring, I think joy is another a word that I really like to kind of focus on, and color. So, and to me, because color brings joy. Whenever people come into our studio, everyone's like, oh my gosh, I love these colors. And you might have, your whole house, in a really beautiful uh, shades of neutrals. But then you come in here, you're just like, ooh, like you can always see people like, oh my gosh, I really like that pink. That looks amazing. And color in our lives are important, whether it's, in your home or what you put on your plate, for example. Um, color makes everything so much better.
That's exactly the reaction I have when I walk into your studio. It feels like a happy place. And I have been known to say this before. I feel like if you pursue happiness and joy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everything else will follow,
Yeah.
right? Everything falls in place.